Okay, so the first step is to find the right keywords. And in order to do that, you're going to want to type in keyword tool into Google, which will give you the search results and will lead us to this Google AdWords keyword tool. So go ahead and click on that, and that will bring up this keyword tool. Now in this area here, you're going to want to think about what your customers would be typing into Google or Yahoo when they are doing a web search, and try to keep it as general as possible. So for this example, we're going to focus in on website design, just to give us some keywords and show you how we might go about it if we were a web design firm. So we've typed in website design, and we'll go ahead and click search. And as you can see, it's given us about 100 options here, and we can run down them, and you can see here you have good website design examples, hotel website design tips. So it's really everything about web design or website design is in here. And from this, it's what we're going to want to use to hone in on whichever terms most fit our particular business. But before we do that, notice these three columns here. We have competition, which is, as you can see here, if this bar is mostly filled up, that means there's high competition. And then you have global monthly searches and then local monthly searches. And if you hover over these question marks, it's going to tell you what they do. But as far as I'm concerned, I think the best approach is to look at local monthly searches and click on it, which will sort this entire list by the local monthly searches from top to bottom. And as you would expect, website is the first term here that has popped up with over 16 million monthly searches. And although you can see that it says that the competition is low, the fact is that website is such a general term that it just doesn't produce that well for you. And that's most likely why people are avoiding it. So when picking keywords, you really want to focus in on what really defines your business and which keywords most fit that and are the most defined. Like, for example, website designers would be much more defined than website itself. Likewise, look at the difference here. You have 550,000 local monthly searches versus 16 million. And so you might ask why that is. A lot of the time what happens is people will type in website first, and then they'll get a whole bunch of search results and realize that they need to define their search a little bit more, and they'll go ahead and type in website designers or website design, or maybe even website design California, just to get more localized options and further define that search to get something most applicable to them. So as a general rule here too, you're going to want to look at the local monthly searches and the competition here both together to see what the reality of the competition is. 450,000 searches a month is a lot, and if you see high competition with that as well, there's just a very low chance that you're going to rank very well on that term, and it's going to take a very, very long time. So it's probably best to avoid focusing on that term. That doesn't mean that you can't include that term in your SEO process, but the reality is that you may spend a lot of time and money on that term and it won't produce anything for you. So that's just something that you need to decide. So if this list looks good to you, then the next step is to actually download it into an Excel file, which you'll notice we can do right here. So this just gave us all the same data that we saw there. I'm going to go ahead and sort this the way that we had it by local monthly searches. Okay, and there we go. So personally, I recommend trying to find a sweet spot of local monthly searches and a really defined word, and competition as well, that gives you a real good chance to get on the first page of Google and therefore get yourself some good leads. And so I'm actually going to start towards the bottom because 22,000, 1,800, these are a lot. So I might look at affordable website designers. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight this row. How about best website designers. That looks like another good one. And so forth. And so with this, you're going to want to come up with probably about 5 to 10 keywords if you're starting out. So now that you have your keywords, my next recommendation is to completely stop pursuing any type of SEO campaign and immediately buy some AdWords, some pay-per-click Google AdWords, and you'll have some ads on the front of Google which will serve the exact same purpose and allow you to test to make sure an SEO campaign will work for you. So for example, if I was to type in website design here, these ads right here, you can see it says ads and there's a slight background color here. These are the paid ads, and you can pay to be right in this area or on the side here. Okay, these would be the top 3, and then this would be 4, 5, 6, and 7, and you can actually bid to get on here, and it's not that hard. The other cool part about it is that you can completely control your budget. So if you only want to spend $100 on it, once your $100 gets used up, your ads will no longer show up. So it's very cheap. I mean, you can start with $20 if you want. That might only get you a couple clicks, but it'll be enough to let you run a test to see if your SEO campaign will work. Because once you actually do SEO, you're going to hopefully end up as one of these anywhere on this page. This is what is called the organic search results versus the paid search results. If you can test how valuable these web ads are, if you will, by using AdWords, then you can completely save yourself from doing an SEO campaign, which will take longer and will be much, much more expensive. And first find out if web advertising even works for you. So that's why I highly recommend spending a little bit of money on the Google AdWords pay-per-click. And if you're savvy enough, Google is giving away $100 coupons for pay-per-click all the time. And I'm sure if you do a search or if you sign up, they'll probably give you that, and you can use that to test, which is just great. So let's assume that you're going to do that, and let me show you what an AdWords campaign looks like. For example, here's the keywords right here, and you can see you'll be able to tell how much you want to bid on it, how many clicks you've gotten, how many impressions there were, which means how many times it was searched, your average cost per click, and so forth. And so once you've ran your campaign, you really want to make sure that you analyze if it actually worked for you. So for example, let's say you spent $100 on pay-per-click. How many leads did you get from that? Did you get any? In addition to that, not only how many leads did you get, but did you actually convert those leads into sales? If you haven't converted any leads into sales, or if you're not getting leads, there's clearly a problem. Either you have chosen the wrong keywords, or your website is not providing some sort of clear call to action, like there's not a contact form there, or there's not a clear reason that they should contact you, which is something you definitely should look into, because there have been times when I've seen small adjustments made to a website. I mean, the size of a button or certain text that's there or a nicely designed image, and all of a sudden a site that was getting 0 clicks is getting a ton of clicks and a ton of leads. So you're going to want to look at your website from a third-party perspective and see if somebody was typing that search term into a search engine and they came to your website, would they actually be pushed to contact you? Would they feel compelled to contact you? Now, if you feel like you've done all of that and you're still not getting any leads and it's still not converting into sales, you have 2 options. Either hire an expert to help you change that, or accept the fact that web advertising might not be right for you. But I highly doubt that is the case, because almost every industry these days is using web advertising to support their business. So next, you're going to want to look at which keywords are producing the most for you so that you can determine which terms you're going to want to do for SEO. And we haven't done this in a while, but I'm going to go ahead and click on all time so we can see some results here and talk about them. So as you can see, Web Design California was by far the highest producing term for us. We got 1,375 clicks out of 70,000 impressions. We had a click-through rate of 1.94%, which was very nice. And our average cost was $3.60. We spent about $5,000 on that. Ignore these numbers here, this cost per conversion, although you can set these up. We never actually set these up, and so that's why these numbers don't look very good. But in fact, these campaigns were very successful for us, and they definitely encouraged us to go ahead and do a very broad SEO campaign. So anyways, back to choosing your keywords here. So you can see we've got quite a few here, and the question is how do we select them? Well, you're going to want to look at not only how many clicks, but your click-through rate. So if you notice down here, Real Estate Web Design California was producing over a 4% click-through rate. However, we only got 10 clicks during that time, and so that probably wasn't good enough for us. Now, on Web Design California, as we were saying before, this was just producing a ton for us, so that's probably the term to focus on, and variations of that. As you can see, we have Web Design California, California Web Design, and although you might think those are the same terms because they are the same words, they actually produce different results, and you will need to SEO them differently. So anyways, if we were going to pick 3 terms or 5 terms here, I would say that these top 5 terms are probably pretty good, or top 6. And of course, California website looks like it had quite a few impressions and might have produced pretty well for us as well. So these are the ones that we would pick from right here. Now, like I said, we were tracking the leads that came in since this was basically the only form of advertising that we had. And we knew that these leads were producing revenues for us. And so we were more than happy to go ahead and pursue an SEO campaign. And we might even have done both at the same time. There's no reason not to do both at the same time, especially when you're building an SEO campaign and you're waiting for your organic SEO search results to actually produce for you, as it's going to take some time for you to get up onto the first page. And so paying for Google Ads and getting right up on the top there and generating leads and converting sales is something that's good for your business. So you should definitely do that if you can afford. The next step is to take the keywords you've chosen and create a unique title, meta keywords, and meta description for each page on your website. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, I'm using iconosites.com for my website. And so conveniently, I'm able to add a page, and down here, I have the SEO options where I can enter in the page title, the keywords, and the description. And so if this page is going to be about Web Design California, then what I'm going to want to do for the page title here is type in Web Design California, and you may want to add a word after that or before it, like learn about Web Design California. And then for your keywords, this is where you're going to want to type those keywords exactly. So Web Design California, and then we had California Web Design, California Website Design. And then for a description here, you just want to write a description about the page and make sure it's unique. And it doesn't have to be anything specific, but make sure you use the keyword in the text. In our case, that's Web Design California. So we'll say, this page is about Web Design California options. Here you will learn more about the website design process. Okay, that's probably good enough. Now with Iconosites, we even have the benefit of specifying our own smart URL. And if you can see this here, this is the part where at the end of the domain, it will be the actual page that's on there. So if I put Web Design California, then I can show you what will happen. Let's go ahead and save this page. Then we'll go ahead and look at it here on the live site. And as you can see here, Web Design California is our smart URL. And then if I right click and say View Page Source, we can see here we have our title, we have our description that we wrote, and we have our keywords. So that part is all done. Now there's a couple important things to note. Number one, with your page title, on every page of your site, you must have a different page title. If you don't, Google is only going to count one of those pages. They will count the rest of them as duplicates, and that's not good because you want to have as many pages as you can on your website. That will give your website more authority and credibility in the industry that you're in. Likewise, with the keywords, you don't have to have different keywords on every page, but I highly recommend it. And the same goes for the description. You should have a different description on each page, and that will just make your site look more thorough, more diverse for the topic that you're going